Hey everybody, happy Easter. Welcome to Mission of Grace live stream. This is something new to us, and so who knows what all might happen. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have some music. It didn't quite work out, but you know what? It's a learning experience, and we'll just keep learning as we go. Some interesting things I'd like to point out today. One is, of course, we know that we're celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. This is the greatest day of every year. It's better than Christmas, because Christmas he was born, and that's wonderful, but this time he rose from the dead, and that's what makes everything great in the lives we live. And I know that there's always suffering, there's always heartache, there's always difficulties, there's always a lot of pain, because that's the way life is. But isn't it great to know that the risen Lord accompanies your life? He lives in your spirit. You're a partner with God. And whether you're walking in sin or whatever you're up to, he'll always restore you. He'll always redeem you. His presence yearns to live in your heart and to give you all the peace you need to get you through not just a day, but a life. And it's a wonderful thing to know the living Lord. A couple of things I want to point out this morning before we get going is, of course, Lazarus understands what it takes to come out of that grave, because Jesus told him. He says, Lazarus, come forth. And so I found something out. Of course, you guys might already all know this, but he became a bishop. And on his tombstone, it says, twice dead, friend of Jesus. I love that, because he stayed dead the second time, except that we know in spirit he lives with the heavenly Lord. But I love the fact that that's on there. Twice dead, friend of Jesus. Boy, that says it all. Another little quote I'd like to start out with today is from C.S. Lewis. He says, you don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body, but you are a soul. And we're going to talk about souls today. We're going to talk about what it means when your soul knows the soul of God. It's kind of like this old book I've got here, this old Bible that I've been using since, boy, I don't know how long it is. But see, it ain't even together anymore. You can tell I've tried to keep it together. But it's kind of like a body and a soul. The real stuff's in here. This is just sort of here, a little bit like a spacesuit to keep us alive on this planet. But this isn't the end for us. This is just the beginning. And it's all because of Jesus Christ. So how can we not celebrate? How can we not be joyful and say, this is the day the Lord has made? He's risen from the grave. His grace gives us a new chance every day to be someone different, to be who we were meant to be, and not stay in our same old methodic and boring routines of just living as captives to sin. That's not the case when you know Jesus Christ. So, let me see. I want to start out telling you something you've probably heard before. You've probably heard the story about the time the great Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, his partner, went on a camping trip. They slept out in the beautiful night air. They were covered and everything, and all of a sudden, Sherlock Holmes elbows Dr. Watson in the ribs, and Dr. Watson wakes up. He opens his eyes, and he says, what does that tell you, Sherlock Holmes? Asked Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson thought about it a little bit, and he said, well, astronomically, it tells me there are countless galaxies above us, and perhaps billions of undiscovered planets. Astrology-wise, it tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Ontologically, it tells me it's about 2:45 in the morning. Regarding the upcoming logic of the weather ahead, it tells me that tomorrow will probably be a beautiful day. And just overall logically, it tells me we are a small part of the greater whole. Why, Holmes? What's it tell you? Watson, you idiot, said Holmes, someone stole our tent. Anyway, I like that joke. Maybe you've probably heard it before. You can probably tell it better than I do, but it is a good one. In John 21, 5 through 9, I'm going to read probably a little bit of a resurrection story a little differently perhaps than you've heard in the past. Starting with verse 5, Jesus is out walking around the shoreline, and he calls out to his disciples, his friends that were out fishing in the sea. And he says, "Friends, haven't you any fish?" They were having a bad day. They hadn't caught anything. "No," they answered. He said, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some fish." When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number that they had caught. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved, which is John, the writer of this book, he tells Peter, he goes, "It's the Lord." And as soon as Simon Peter neared him, saying, "It is the Lord," he wrapped the outer garment around him, for he had taken it off, and jumped into the water. The other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from the burning coals. They were about 100 yards away. And when they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals with fish and some bread already prepared for them. This took place, of course, after Jesus' resurrection. And what's interesting about it in today's little message is what side they were trying to fish off of. Now you're saying, well, what about get down to the resurrection part? I preach that every Sunday, and my wife and I and our kids pretty much live it every day. I mean, we definitely believe in the resurrected Jesus. So I'm not going to try to convince you that he literally rose from the dead. There's plenty of material out there that does a much better job explaining that than I can. But I'll say this. If you don't think it's historically true or possible, you need to read some books. There's been plenty out there to try to dismantle the truth, and they've all been proven futile. The real stuff is right in front of you, and there's plenty of people who've done plenty of work looking at it. What I want to talk about today is what keeps people from believing in Jesus Christ. What keeps people from going ahead and just say, God, I trust you. I know you're not out to rearrange everything in my life. You're just out to reveal yourself to me. And I'd like to live this life knowing that I have discovered and walk with the living God of the universe. I'd like to experience that. But there's reasons we don't. One of the reasons we don't is because in our particular culture, in this particular time and place, it's just not a popular thing to do. You don't quite fit in with the hip and knowing, the people that are cool and clever and cut all the cute comedic jokes, mocking Christians, knocking Christians, whatever. We get it. We laugh at them. Believe me, we're not threatened. You can come up with all these devices you want to say Christians are stupid, they're ignorant, they're this and that. And it's just because you don't know us very well. Granted, we got some knuckleheads in the group, but so do atheists and secularists and everybody else. Believe me, there's knuckleheads everywhere, and you guys know that. I use that term fondly because our cat's name's Knucklehead. But the point is that, you know, if you want to pick on us because we have some perverts and hypocrites in the bunch that shouldn't be in it, welcome to the real world. Those kind of people are everywhere. Just because Christians should be much better than that doesn't mean we're perfect. But I want to tell you something. Don't let who we are, because I think for the most part we're a lot better than you think we are. But forget that for a moment. Don't let anything keep you from knowing Jesus Christ. Don't let us stop you. Figure him out for yourself. If you say, I don't know how, why don't you just get alone somewhere and say, God, if you're there, would you touch my life? Would you make your presence known to me? Would you give me a peace that passes understanding? Will you help me, God? Why don't you just ask him? I remember one time my wife used to work at IBM, and she worked with a young man, and he said to her, you know, I just don't understand. How do you know God? How do you know there is a God? She said, ask him for yourself. And I feel the same way. I've always loved that story, and that's what I say to people. Don't count on me to change your life. I'm not a Holy Spirit. I'm just a regular guy like you are. But if you need to give your life to God, why don't you try it? And instead of being comfortable walking around with the attitude of, I don't need God, I just want to sit at the popular table in the lunchroom and just be accepted by people in the culture I live in. Okay, if you want to live and waste away just kind of being a big blob, go for it. Because when you're dead, and it doesn't matter. You're just a name on a tombstone. That's it. That's the whole summation of your life. You're not the Beatles. You're not Richard Dawkins. You're not somebody famous who's got a reputation to uphold and in some cases done a fine job. However, that's it for you. You're nothing. You're nobody. You're just like me. And you know what? You need what a lot of us need, a little help along the way, a little hope, some love, some peace. Some of us are broken, completely down on our luck. We've blown it with drinking, or we've blown it with gambling, or we've ruined our families, and our relationships have just fiddled apart, flittered, gone into nothing. You know what? There's an answer to that. Maybe you're not in the hip and knowing crowd, but Jesus Christ is waiting for you. Would you come sit at his table? He loves you. He's there for you. He wants you. He's seeking and searching for you. You know what the problem is most time? We don't really seek and search for him. We let other people tell us how to think and how to act. Here we act like we're different. We get our tattoos and all that kind of fun stuff. And we think we're original when every cat in town's got a tattoo or two or three. I'm not knocking it. It is kind of fun. But the deal is, it's not original. Everybody wants to be unique and original. But nobody's got the guts to fall in love with God. That's not hip. It's not cool. You're not good enough to do it. Whatever. Some of you need it, and you know who I'm talking about. Some of you need the interaction and the living grace and life Jesus Christ offers everybody. He's a giver. He gave. He gave. You can study him in history like I challenged you a second ago, and you're going to find that he never did anything. His disciples even denied him and did some stupid stuff when he was right there in front of them, living with them. So we haven't changed that much as people, but he's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He has not changed at all. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. If you give him a chance, he will restore your heart. He'll restore your mind. He'll transform you and help you be the real person you were destined to be. A person after God's own heart. A person with a greater purpose than just getting to Friday or getting through another day of the week. You need to give your life to Jesus Christ, man. You need to quit fiddling around. Maybe I sounded like Joe Biden then. But I grew up like he did in the man era. You know, now it's dude. Everybody's a dude. Girls are even dudes. But anyway, back in my day, it was man. And I'm telling you, that's what some of you just need to hear. Another thing that I think keeps people from following God is pseudo-intellectualism. People admire and respond to people with great knowledge. Don't you love people like that? It's fun to listen. It's fun to read. But some people pattern their lives like those guys are the only ones that have the key to any answers in life, and yet they're just as miserable and misunderstood as everybody else. I don't think there's anything wrong with science. I love science. But I don't know that it's really doing, although we should research it and study it, but it hasn't really done much to convince too many people there's no God. You know, the people it convinces there's no God are people dumber than they are. You got to figure this stuff out on your own. Why do you just believe it because somebody said it and you go, oh man, they got all these degrees and doctrines. Man, you need to look it up for yourself. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a heads up right now. This whole Darwin thing is a slow death. It's dying. It's been dying since the 80s. And these guys are holding up. You know why? They're just like politicians. The money's got to come in. What are they worth? Like NASA, if there's no money to support it, they got to keep some of this goofy stuff up. You need to read and study some things on your own. Figure it out. Don't just be told there's no God by some hardcore person who doesn't like anybody anyway. They laugh, they smile, they look like they're having fun. So let them have their fun. It's great. I'm happy for them. But I don't choose that. What do you choose? And you don't have to look at me because I'm not any better or different than anybody. And my wife can verify that pretty easily. So can my kids. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter. This is a deal between you and God. What if you were alone on a desert island? Would you even talk to God? Would you even try? Oh, no, it's not worth it. Then you just die alone. Some people go, well, how can you follow God? There's no Bible on a desert island. Right. There was no Bible when these guys wrote it. You know why they did it? They had faith. They trusted in the living Lord. They trusted in God. The Old Testament people trusted that the answer was coming. And us New Testament people, we believe it came and it's alive and he lives in us. The third thing that keeps people from believing in Jesus Christ, unfortunately, is religion. And what you might not understand is a lot of the religious people of his day are the very people that turned against him. They hated him. They wanted him dead because he was stealing their good deal. They were controlling people. If you think Jesus Christ, who says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, if you know the truth, you will be set free. If you think he's interested in controlling your life and sending you to some religious service where everybody wants to make you a robot instead of celebrating who you are, you got the wrong picture. You're buying the wrong lie. It's a lie, like some of this other stuff we've been talking about this morning. Don't let something stand in your way of Jesus Christ, including the religious lie. Oh, you just are in a cult. You're this, you're that. No, you're not. Think. Why would God want to take you and ruin your life? Why wouldn't he want to accelerate your gifts and talents and help you become the person he designed you to be? But if you're going to hold a grudge against some church someday, or one of these perverts in some of these churches, or whatever, you're letting something keep you from the divine truth. And maybe you're the one that can make a big difference in this world. But as long as you're flittering around doing whatever you're doing and not taking God seriously, and blaming people of religions that, well, I'm not going to believe in God because of that. You need to get over yourself if you can. Just try to be open-minded. I watch stuff all the time and I want to understand. I want to know things. Don't cut God out just because this preacher right here might be making you upset. I'm just telling you the truth as I know it. Just simply straight out. Why don't you give him a shot? Give him a try. He's not dead. That stuff was buried in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. That's old news, man. You need to get on the good news. You get to get on the new boat. It's a new day. Jesus Christ is doing new things. This stuff we're going through with this virus right now, hey, God's got people covered. Don't live in fear. Don't live in frustration. God's got your back, but you've got to give it to him. Help me, God. Help me. I give you my life. I'm a broken person. I need restoration. I need my own heart resurrected. I've killed relationships. I've destroyed people I love. What am I doing? What have I done? Why am I addicted to this or out doing no good? What, God, help me. Have mercy on me. He's at the seat of mercy even right now. Ask him. Just get really gut honest and ask him, God, who am I? Can you even help me? A man of unclean lips, a man of sorrows, a man of anger, frustration. God, can you help me? I've tried my whole life to be righteous and good, but God, I'm not there. Can you help me? Can you just help me be a better person? I don't even have to, just help me, God. Have mercy on my soul. All right, I just want to end with this illustration. Years ago, when we all first moved here to Mission of Grace, it was myself and 3 of my little kids at the time. We've got 4 now, and they're not little. But at the time, they were. And a bird got in the church. And you wouldn't believe how determined that bird was to not leave, even though he wanted to. He was stuck in this church. We were all up here cleaning it. And this bird could not get out. We opened every window. We opened the doors. My little 5, 6-year-old son was throwing brooms up in the air. We're like, don't do that. You're going to break a lamp or something. I mean, we were all just waving and spinning and all that. And finally, the bird discovered the door and out he went. And it reminded me of the story I'd heard about a farmer where a bird got stuck inside his barn. And he thought, man, if I could only become a bird, I could lead this bird out of here. Lead it to safety. Live it to freedom. Listen, Christianity is not going to constrain you. God, who came in flesh and blood, and just like that man dreamed about being equal to a bird, God became equal to us through Jesus Christ. Like I said a while ago, look him up. Great guy, great teacher, great person. You can't, there's nothing bad about, well, his people started wars and they're no good. Yeah, there's a bunch of crummy people. Get it. But he came and made himself to offer freedom, to get us out our constrained addictions or our constrained attitudes or whatever. He set us free. Be free. Trust the truth. Turn to Jesus Christ. This is what you should do. You should say, Jesus, I believe you died on the cross. Help me. Would you touch my life? I need you. I need you. I give my life to you in Jesus' name. Okay, well, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're on our little thing, I'll be sending out messages this coming Wednesday. So God bless you. Thank you. And I hope your Easter is as wonderful as mine, or me and Lisa. So far, so good.